The Condiment Packet Gallery proudly boasts that it is an archive of flexible portion control condiment packets, which may seem a bit odd to be proud of, but upon visiting the site you quickly learn just how proud the owner is, not only to have this collection, but to be able to share it with all of us. The first thing you see when you go to the website is the title, Condiment Packet Gallery, and then you see a round button that has a caption saying, "Look, free pin if you submit a new packet," with free pin underlined, indicating that this is a link. Next to the free pin link is a slightly bigger, bolded font saying that the total condiment count on the website is currently 724, and underneath that is a link that says, "See them all." When you click on the link for the pin, it shows you a bigger version of the button, and then a paragraph explaining that when you submit a condiment packet, you will receive a free pin in return. The pins serve as a token of appreciation from the site owner and are 1 inch in diameter. Clicking on the link to see all of the condiment packets the site has to offer provides you with an alphabetical look at all of the packets, which is pretty impressive as it must have taken ages to accomplish. The bottom of the page includes an alphabetical navigation, letting you browse through the condiments titled A through C, C through G, G through H, and so on. However, there is a typo, as after the T through W link, there is a link that says W through S. When you click on the title of the site, you are brought back to the home page. At the top of the home page in small font are the words "Search By," which to me made me think that you could hover over the text and get a drop-down list. Slightly to the right of Search By, there is a font in the same size that says Sauce Type, and to the right of that, Special Categories, only categories is misspelled, and to the right of the special categories is text that says Site Info. This must be a navigation bar. As I said before, the font is quite small and only noticeable because it is placed so closely to the site's heading and subheading. At first, I thought that maybe hovering over the Search By text, I could find a drop-down list. However, that wasn't the case. The drop-down lists are found by hovering over Sauce Type and Special Categories. The sauce types are listed alphabetically, starting with barbecue and ending with vinegar, or other really, but that doesn't really count. And I was surprised by how many sauce options there were to choose from. In my world, condiments are sort of limited to ketchup, mustard, barbecue sauce, and mayonnaise, but clearly I was sorely mistaken. As to avoid overwhelming myself, I clicked on the link for jelly packets. I was overwhelmed anyway because, as shown in the photo, I severely underestimated the variety that there would be in jelly packets. Not only has the collector found different jelly packets from different restaurants, they've also found many different flavors of jelly. When you click on an individual jelly packet, you get a close-up view, either horizontal or vertical, depending on the direction of the text, as I later found out, along with a title to tell you what flavor of jelly it is and where it came from. I went back to click on one of the special categories under the tab and was a bit surprised to find that this list, unlike the last, was only mostly alphabetical. Well, it was alphabetical aside from the fact that McDonald's was at the top of the list when it really should have been in the middle. Also, there weren't as many menu items under special categories as there were under sauce type, but I suppose that is to be expected. And the special categories appear to be a list of all of the sauces made by a certain company. For example, the page for Heinz does not only contain ketchup, it also has mustard, barbecue sauce, honey, and tartar sauce, to name a few. The last list item under both sauce type and special categories says All Categories. When you click on All Categories, it brings you to a page titled Categories that has all the different types of condiments, the different companies, and lastly, the different countries that the condiments came from. I noticed that the last item under the Categories heading was a link that says Test Category, and when you click on it, nothing shows up. It's just a page that has a title and an advertisement. Starbucks specifically for me, which kind of makes me wonder why Google thought I needed to see some coffee right now. After the amusing test page, I went to click on the site info, which I had just assumed would be a page with 1 or 2 short paragraphs discussing the archive. But I was pleasantly surprised to find that it too was a drop-down list containing items such as collection criteria, an about the collection page, a contact page, a store, and a page called Submit a Packet. The criteria page is a paragraph letting us know that the site creator has a set of rules on what to include or omit from their collection and a numbered list of those rules. Their rules include what kind of packaging they allow, only squeezable tear-off corners, what kind of condiments, no spices, sugars, or salts, no extra-large packets as they have to fit into the card holders, although some exceptions may be made. The last item, however, is the most interesting in my opinion, as the owner states that the packets that are very similar to packets they already have are acceptable. Slight font variation or an altered ingredient list are enough to make the packet a different packet than one already in their possession, so they may be submitted for consideration. Another item under this navigation tab was one for a store, and when I clicked on it, it took me to an entirely different page, which is a first for this site. However, the page was unavailable, which was pretty disappointing. Once I was done going through the navigation bar, I went back to the home page and focused on the bottom half of the site. There's a news section, with the last update being on January 30th in 2005. There doesn't seem to be any other date to indicate when the page could have last been updated, so I can only assume that the site hasn't been touched in over 9 years. This news section seems to be like a little update section, as the site owner claims that they are going to be adding a new packet every Monday, and that they were able to find 2 new packets of Miracle Whip, and another new variation of the cookies barbecue sauce, which is apparently very difficult to find. Under the news section, there is a small square that says Taco Bell packet sayings in a font and design that are very recognizable as being from the Taco Bell condiment packets. To the right of this, also under the news section, is a heading that says Recent Additions, and underneath that are pictures of packets that must be the recent additions. I clicked on the Taco Bell packet sayings photo, and it brought me to a page with a short paragraph and then a list of all of the sayings on Taco Bell condiment packets. The paragraph explains that Taco Bell has recently come out with new packets of mild, hot, and fire sauce, and that the packets have different sayings on them. The owner of the site claims to have all of the packet sayings and says that they will soon add scans of all of the packets. Once again, I went back to the home page and clicked on one of the packets under the Recent Additions heading, and it brought me to a page for the Burger King Strawberry Jam packet. Once I was done exploring the site, I focused on the actual review part. As I stated earlier, the site was last updated in 2005, and that is pretty obvious from the design. The page's background is black with white font, and while that is good contrast, it also gets pretty boring after a while. I understand that while those colors are neutral and good contrast for all of the different colors that are present in the condiment packets, the design definitely leaves something to be desired. The same font is used throughout the entirety of the site, the only differences being the heading and the clickable picture that brings you to the Taco Bell packet sayings page. There's also a big empty space on the page that definitely does not need to be there. It could have been easily filled by using bigger font or rearranging and resizing the items underneath the news section so that they go on top and take up more space. There are interesting features on the page, and the fact that they are at the bottom underneath a big block of text makes them almost unnoticeable. The coloring on the packets is the only thing that makes them stand out. The navigation bar could also stand to be a lot bigger and have some variation. The font is so small and there is, upon first glance, nothing that would suggest which headings are clickable and which are not. The links aren't underlined, and there is no capitalization to be seen. In fact, there are very few places on this archive where you can find an underlined link. The free pin link, the link to see all of the condiments, and the links on the All Categories page. The All Categories page is probably the most well-designed page on this website. The headings are bold and slightly bigger than the font that's used for the links, and as I said before, the links are all underlined. However, the way the links are listed, though it is an enormous space saver, is kind of annoying to look at. The least well-designed page on this website would probably have to be the Taco Bell packet sayings page. It had a lot of potential, but it's confusing to look at. There are 3 color-coded columns on the right that say mild, hot, and fire, respectively, and down every column is an X that lines up with each saying that can be found on a Taco Bell packet. Why are the X's there? Are these sayings found on all 3 different sauce packets? If that's the case, then why not just say so in the paragraph explaining the page? The last thing I noticed was the spelling. Now, don't get me wrong, the spelling is good, but there was one word that was almost consistently spelled wrong, and that word is category. Every single use of the word category or categories has 2 A's instead of an E, except for its use on the All Categories page. I feel like if they were able to get the spelling right on one page, it really shouldn't have been that hard to get it right every other time it appears. But of all the fonts and the photos on the site, the thing that bugs me the most is the header and the subheader. The header of a website should be one of the most noticeable things, but I only noticed it because it was slightly bigger than the rest of the font surrounding it, and it is a more decorative font. And the subheading itself is fine, aside from the font size, until you get to the last word, which is tilted at a slight angle. Now, this may be to represent a rip in the packets, but if that's what the site owner was going for, I really wish they would have put more effort into making it look like a ripped packet. Overall, this was a fun archive. It was very interesting to see the collection, and I'm happy that I happened to stumble across it. You can really tell that there was a lot of effort put into the organization of the site and how to clean out the packets, along with all of the categories to include. The only flaw is in the actual design of the site, which is really unfortunate. The fonts need to be bigger, and the empty space directly in the middle of the page just really needs to go.